What is, isn't. And what isn't, is. That is how I lived most of my life. How I saw myself, no one else did. How everyone else saw me, I surely did not. One time, when I was around 5 years old, I remember watching my mom prepare to go out for the evening. I was entranced. When I grew up, I wanted to be just like her. Suddenly, she said to me, "Why don't you go into the bathroom and watch your father while he shaves?" Confused, I asked her, why? I asked myself, what part of me would rather watch my dad than gaze at my mom? Waking me out of my trance, she said, "Because you are a boy." I said to myself, a boy? From that point on, I knew I was a girl who somehow was held captive in the body of a boy. I began to live a life that was not true. I hope that telling my story today will help inspire others who are struggling to live lives of truth and authenticity. At 20, I am running. I'm not sure if I'm running away from myself or to myself, but I know I am running in utter despair. And in that year, in 1971, I ran to Israel to work on a kibbutz, a place where the we is more important than the me, a place where maybe I could forget, should forget about myself and the demons that are haunting me day and night. I visit the ancient Western Wall in Jerusalem, a special place of prayer in Jewish history. I am excited to touch the stones, yet I am overwhelmed by pain, my daily chronic anxiety. As with other religions, traditional Judaism requires a separate space for the men to pray and one for the women, with a divider between the two. I have to choose. Am I male or female? What do I do? So simple for most, so heart-wrenching and anything but simple for me. I feel such inner turmoil. I say to myself, if I enter the women's side, where I know I belong, I will cause unwanted attention. If I enter the men's side, where the world dictates to me I should, I will experience feelings of self-betrayal. But I sensed I just had to touch those stones. So with mixed emotions, I entered the men's side, excited, but despising myself for once again not being authentic about who I really am, especially in such a holy place. On that hot summer day, as I rested my aching head against those cool stones, I felt embraced. I felt something other than pain inside of me. I felt home. What a surprise. Right then and there, something changes inside of me. As I walk away from the wall, for the first time in my life, I am excited to be Jewish. I also feel that I've just made two new best friends, clarity and confusion. I am sure I want to experience more of my Jewish identity and learn about Israel. But where do I fit in? Just like at the wall. Can I fit in? At 24, in New York, I am immersed in the Jewish Orthodox religious world. And I'm making deals with God. I'm saying, God, I will be observant. And maybe you will release me from those demons that are haunting me day and night. Please, Please help me feel I'm no longer a woman. Or change my body so it's no longer that of a man. Well, as probably all of you can imagine, nothing changes. I tell myself, oh, God wants me to try harder. So, out of desperation, I do. By 34, I am now living in Jerusalem as an ultra-Orthodox man with a growing family and a growing beard. And then, as I turned 40 in 1991, everything I built my life on begins to crumble. As Iraq is firing missiles towards Israel, I am feeling under attack inside of me. I had built this huge, tall skyscraper of a life whose weak foundation was fear and desperation. The life I led fell out from under me. I go through a painful divorce, breaking up a loving family. I lose all my teaching positions. Due to my divorce, I am told I am now damaged goods, unwanted. And then a prominent rabbi tells me, you should leave. After 20 years of trying my best to live someone else's life, I felt like such a fraud that in fact I did leave my home, the Jewish way of life, and Israel. I realized I kept my end of the deal, but God did not keep his. So I returned to New York, lonely and alone, blundering. I ask myself, how can I be authentic in a world that doesn't encourage me so and actually makes it so difficult? And then, on my 50th birthday, I woke up to the most painful, disconnecting, lonely day in my life. I had no more energy left to breathe air into someone else's body while I myself was becoming lifeless. On that day, I made the monumental decision to begin my gender transition journey. It actually wasn't so difficult. It had to be made. It saved my life. In a flash, my dark, lonely life became illuminated with the awareness that the time had arrived for me to begin living the truth. At that point, I just called up to God and said, will you help me? And help there was. To me, authentic living meant no longer living in fear with the shame and guilt that accompanied my life of infidelity to myself and enslavement to others' expectations of how I should be living my life. Authentic living granted me freedom and a sense of self-worth to now being faithful to my essence, my soul. My journey was as much spiritual and healing as it was that of a gender transition. I began to feel quiet inside, serene, even gratitude. But more importantly, I began to feel a part of the world rather than apart from the world. I did return to traditional Jewish living, but now in truth as a woman. And then the day came for me to return to Jerusalem, where my journey began. On my 60th birthday in 2011, for the first time, I approached the wall as Yiscah. Wow, what a miracle. "40 years before, at this wall, as a 20-year-old, I painfully entered the men's section. And now, as a healed woman, I proudly entered the women's section, where I always knew I belonged. And on that hot summer day, as I gently brushed against those cool stones, I realized something startling. If a man stands as close to the divider as possible, and a woman does the same, there are only a few centimeters between them. Those few centimeters became my 40-year journey in my personal wilderness. It took me 40 years to cross over those few centimeters. So indeed, my life has transitioned into what is, and what isn't. Thank you.